All right, family. We live once again with the general. You rocking with the greatest of all time. You feel what I'm saying? We're gonna be talking about African nations that supported South Africa during apartheid. Now, a lot of vigilante mobs. They want them nations out of there. They want them out of there. Or is it just the criminals? Are these patriots or xenophobia or xenophobis? You see, we got to figure that one out. But anyway, before we get started, family, I want to make sure you get over there to my Patreon. We got that file over there, evidence. We're highlighting today evidence of the modern troglodyte. Yes, indeed, we got that on deck. I want you to get over there, click that link at the top of the chat. Also, Adam and Eve, ancient vampirism Exposed is over there, family. Over 600 exclusive live streams only to be viewed uh on my Patreon. Here we go, family. So again, a lot of support was given to South Africa, you know, to fight apartheid, to fight the powers, you see, and they were able to take that money, and you got money from a lot of ways. You got millions of dollars. You did. You got millions of dollars from all out from the U.S. You got all over Africa. I've seen one guy talked about Ghana gave $1 million. Mandela got out of Detroit with 1.5 million. But when he left United States, he had over $7 million, probably more than that. A lot of people love Mandela and love and really were connected to the plight of our peoples in South Africa. We was, no matter where, no matter where there's an injustice to black people, if it's an injustice anywhere, it's an injustice everywhere. That's how we got to think. You hear what I'm saying? If there's an injustice with black people anywhere, it's an injustice everywhere. So we have to we can't let none slide. We can't let none slide. We had to move on operations of supremacy, white supremacy like that. You know what I'm saying? To give our people an opportunity to balance the scale. You see, balance the scale and have a fighting chance to overthrow that regime. You know what I'm saying? That was oppressing our people. And to a larger extent, it seemed to be that there were some victories. Mandela was voted in as president. Even though I didn't like the fact that de Klerk, the Boer Afrikaner president that was in there before he got there, who should have been arrested for all type of atrocities, became the vice president, which that was in itself. I couldn't understand that. I couldn't understand that, and so, but I figure they wasn't gonna give it all up at one time, and you know what I'm saying, and so uh but I thought that we would continue to fight that fight, in progress. And it's about returning the land back to the indigenous South Africans. That never happened. It never happened. And see, that's again, and I think about in the same respects of reparations. You can't wait long. You understand? Right is right. And you understand? And it shouldn't be no slow rolling to make shit right. You know what I'm saying? Shouldn't be no slow rolling. If it's right, it's right. You see? Handle that now. You see? Come out, let's make this shit right now. Shouldn't be no slow. What the fuck is the reason the slow roll to what's right? You know? You out if you're wrong, god damn it, we're gonna correct this right now. You see? And so here it is. I mean, you talking about Nelson Mandela came to the United States in 1990. 1990. So how many goddamn years is that? We about 36 years from that. We about 36 years from that. So I mean, and still, N- how much land has been given back to the people? They say the Afrikaners still own about 70-80% of everything that's in all the land in South Africa. Still. Then they let the Indian over there get they got more land, farmland than the African. That's ridiculous. Ramo, I mean, but the consecutive presidents that have been in there and they ain't returned that land yet. A bunch of goddamn clowns. That's all they is. Good for nothing. Good for nothing. The status quo remain the same. The status quo remain the same after all these years. No more land than been given back than before Mandela became president. The richest top 20. I looked up the 20 richest South Africans. I'm gonna look it back up. Johann Rupert. Johann Rupert. A Jew. Johann, that's Jewish. Rupert. Nicky Oppenheimer, another Jew. And Koos Beaker, consistently ranked as South Africa's richest, wealthiest individual. Now, Koos, I don't know who that is. I don't know who that is. Becker, or another Neanderthal. Another Neanderthal. So you got Johann Rupert and family, fashion retail, 16 billion. Oppenheimer, metals and mining, 10 billion. Koos Beaker, media, 3 billion. Patrice my CP. I don't know. He might be black. Then you got this other one. So he might be the only one that's on there. I don't even know. Let me check. I don't want to say he black and he ain't goddamn black. You know what I'm saying? But he might be black. Let's see. Yeah, he is. I thought he was. So he's up there. He's up there. He might be four. He worked, but I believe he damn near the only one on there. You understand what I'm saying? All the rest of them is Neanderthals. You see? Yeah, the rest of them is Neanderthals. As I go through all the rest of them is Neanderthal. Even Botha. Ain't that one of the Botha? That was one of the damn Botha. Was he in there before the clerk? Botha was in there before, and then you see Roloff Botha. That he might be from the yeah, so they still in there. So I mean, damn, they got all the wealth. They got all the land and the wealth. No different than the United States. You understand? No different than the United States. You got some wealth over here, but still, it don't make no goddamn difference. You got $1 trillion. You don't own no land. You don't own no businesses. So you make money to go give it right back to the Caucasian. So you ain't got no land. You ain't what major businesses do we own? We don't own no major businesses. Yeah, we don't own no major businesses. You would think we have something in music. We ain't got shit in music. You think we would have some? Well, the only motherfucker that own we got something in the movies and production is what's his name? Tyler Ferry. That ain't saying much. All he gonna do is make cross dressing movies with Medea and them sad ass church movies and shit with people getting beat up and running from failed relationship. That's all that nigga make is failed relationship movies. You know what I'm saying? So that's all you gonna get out of him. You ain't gonna get no uplifting movies or nothing like that. So forget about it. And so we ain't got shit. So again, but South Africa, I understand what South Africa, but you got to get to the root cause of what it is. Too long they haven't, they have put what the real issue is, giving back the land and resources. You know what I'm saying? And they should nationalize the mines. They should nationalize the resources of South Africa. They should, they need to do that. They should just go ahead and nationalize it, you know, and use the wealth and resources of South Africa to build it up for the people, cut them some checks, you know what I'm saying? So that they can get them some housing and some car, take them resources and invest into some technologies and businesses for so that you can employ the people outside of the mines, but you always got the resources in the back, and take some of them resources, invest in new technologies, and invest it in education and new technologies for the people so you can bring them up to whatever code they need to be. You understand? To be successful in the in the future world of technology and things of that nature, and get them out of there, and get them on up out of there, and so that the people can. That's what needs to happen when you got that many people unemployed, and you got all these people got control over the land, and the peoples are the indigenous people, or the land ain't got no. It's an atrocity. It's a crime against humanity for that to be happening. But they have to understand that they got to go to the root cause. They can't turn around and because it's have nots. Africa is feeling in a lot of the nations are not failed states. You got people that just move around. That's just all it is to it. People's, like to move around, and they should be able to move in Africa if they choose. They shouldn't bring criminality to the country, though. That's not that shouldn't happen. And nowhere should people be allow, criminality to come into the country regardless. If you African or not. I understand that part. But in our anger, we end up jumping on people that's actually South Africans, and people that are actually giving back to the country. So you got a bunch of vigilantes that don't even know what really, they just want to lash out a lot of times. Some people, and you whooping people. You can't be whooping people and let that be the image of who you are. And they go out all over the world that you whooping black people, but you ain't whoop no Neanderthal. That can't be the image that you put out in the world, because it show you didn't show enough falling from the target. You didn't fell off the target. You don't ain't trying to get you're not trying to get the prosperity that could be afforded the peoples in South Africa if they do what's necessary. And they should again, they should nationalize the resources and make it only the state can own it. And then you take that and you build up the community. You invest in new technologies, training the people in the new technology so they could be, that they could have jobs in the future. That's what you have to do. And take it out of the 90% of the damn wealth out of the hands of the 10%. I seen it. 10% of South Africans own damn near 90% of the fucking wealth. Man, listen to this shit, man. I seen it for myself. Look at that. The top po- Listen, the top 10% of adults hold roughly 86 to 95% of the total wealth, while the bottom 50% hold little to no wealth. While the bottom 50% don't even got 1%. hold little to no wealth. The bottom 50%, that's an atrocity. That's an atrocity. Y'all got to get back on that where y'all was. You know what I'm saying? Y'all got to get back on that pre-90, mentality down there, man. Yeah, you got to get back on that pre-90 mentality down there, because that's just totally unacceptable. And Ramaphosa, man, I don't know what you doing. That's why I told Ramaphosa, stay the hell out them damn Russian and United. It's fucked up as the country is. Try to get the country together, man. You don't need to be engaging in no other, in these beefs between the United States, Russia, none of that. Sit your ass down somewhere and go get the goddamn wealth of South Africans back from them goddamn Afrikaners and them boys. That's what you need to do. God damn it. And our family out there, next time I see you running on something, you better be running on the root cause of your problem. Cause right there, that say it all. The top 10, and ain't none of them niggas y'all whooping in the top. They in the bottom 50% with you. They in the bottom 50. Them same people y'all out there whooping. They in the bottom 50% with you. You act like they in the top 10%. Them niggas ain't in no, you whooping the bottom 50. Man, goddamn, you can't see that. You know what I'm saying? You whooping people in the bottom 50% with your ass. That's right. But anyway, family, man, I want y'all to get on over there. Patreon, when y'all get off here, click that link, get on over there. We got let me drop this in here for you. Boom. Adam and Eve, ancient vampirism exposed. Get over there, get that work. Also, evidence of the modern troglodyte family. You got to tap in. This is what's wrong with y'all. Y'all ain't tapping in to the higher science. Get that work, family, and I'll see y'all a little later. Black Power.